A German shepherd blocked the middle of a busy highway, refusing to move, no matter how many drivers honked or shouted. But when state troopers followed him into the woods, they found something so horrifying and unbelievable, it stopped the entire town in its tracks. The sun had just begun to rise. Over a quiet stretch of I-79 in rural Pennsylvania, a light mist hovered above the dewy grass, and the roads were nearly empty. Just a few early commuters and the occasional trucker passing through the tree-lined highway. But that morning, something odd brought traffic to a crawl near mile marker 242. Cars were honking, drivers stepping out in confusion, hazard lights flickering in a scattered line. At first, many thought it was a deer, or maybe an injured animal on the road. But as the cluster of vehicles grew, people saw what was causing the backup. And it wasn't what they expected. A large German shepherd stood directly in the middle of the highway, still, alert, unshakable. His coat was dark and glossy, with a white patch on his chest. His ears stood tall, and his amber eyes scanned every vehicle, like he was searching for someone or something. People yelled at him, whistled. One driver even threw an empty soda bottle near him, not to hurt him, but to scare him off the road. But the dog didn't budge. He stood his ground, head low, tail stiff, as if guarding something invisible. More cars began to stop. One driver, an elderly man named Bill Mason, stepped out and approached cautiously. "I don't think he's lost," Bill muttered, half to himself, half to the younger couple behind him. "Look at those eyes. He's trying to tell us something." And that's when someone called 911. When the call came through dispatch, State Trooper Hank Monroe wasn't surprised. Animal in road calls were fairly common this time of year. He assumed it'd be another deer, or maybe a stray cow from one of the nearby farms. But as soon as he turned off the exit ramp and saw the blinking hazard lights and idle cars, he knew something was off. People were standing around, some pointing toward the road center. That's when Hank saw him. The German shepherd was pacing now, not aimlessly, but deliberately. He would walk several feet toward the woodline, stop, turn around, and bark twice. Then he'd trot back toward the stalled traffic and stare, waiting. "He's not just blocking traffic," someone said. As Hank stepped out, "He's trying to get someone to follow him." Hank whistled. The dog turned his head. Then, almost like he recognized authority, the German shepherd walked right up to Hank, sat down, and whined. That sound stuck with Hank. It wasn't a bark or a growl. It was a plea. The trooper knelt. "What is it, boy?" The dog barked once, then took off down the embankment, pausing every few feet to make sure Hank was following. And something deep in Trooper Monroe's gut told him this dog wasn't leading him to a dead animal or a lost toy. He was leading him to something important. Hank called for backup as he followed the dog through the thick brush off the highway. The German shepherd moved with certainty, tail up, ears alert, darting through thickets like he'd done it 100 times. The woods were quiet, except for the sound of distant traffic and the soft crunch of dry leaves beneath Hank's boots. 15 minutes in, Hank stopped. "Where are you taking me, boy?" he muttered, breathing a little harder than he liked to admit. He was in good shape for 62, but chasing a dog through the forest before breakfast wasn't how he expected to start his day. And then he saw it. A car, barely visible, was crumpled deep in the ravine below. It was wedged between two trees, upside down, its roof crushed, and the passenger side nearly sheared off. Smoke still wisped from the hood. Hank's stomach dropped. Dear Lord. The dog barked loudly, ran to the wreck, and circled it, pawing at the door. That's when Hank saw the movement. Someone was still inside. Trooper Hank Monroe scrambled down the slope, nearly sliding on the loose soil. His boots hit the ground with a thud beside the wreck. The air was thick with the smell of antifreeze and burnt rubber. Birds had gone quiet, as if nature itself was holding its breath. The German shepherd was at the back window, pawing frantically, whining with urgency. Hank wiped the fog from the glass with his sleeve and froze. A child, maybe 4, 5 years old, curled in the back seat, her tiny face pressed against a teddy bear. Her eyes were closed, her lips pale, but her chest rose and fell, ever so slightly. She was alive, "Hang in there, sweetheart," he whispered. "Help's coming." He radioed in. "Dispatch, this is Monroe. I've got a single vehicle off-road. Deep ravine. One occupant, juvenile female. Unconscious but breathing. Vehicle appears to have rolled. Requesting immediate EMTs and rescue gear for slope extraction." His voice was calm, trained, but inside his heart hammered. The dog stood beside him, watching every move. "You found her, didn't you?" Hank murmured. "You saved her." The shepherd gave a soft woof, almost like acknowledgement. As backup and medics arrived, they had to rig pulleys and a rescue basket to retrieve the girl. But before she was hoisted, the EMT asked Hank something that stuck with him for the rest of his life. "You say the dog led you here?" "Yes." The medic shook his head. "Then, someone up there still wants this little girl alive." At the ER in nearby Meadville, the little girl was stabilized. She had a mild concussion, some bruised ribs, and dehydration, but she was going to make it. There was just one problem. No one knew who she was. The car had no plates. The VIN was scratched off. The glove box held no registration. No insurance card, nothing. The interior was strangely clean. Too clean, almost sterile. No baby pictures. No name scribbled in crayon. No signs of family. Just the child and the dog. The hospital tagged her as Jane Doe, age 5. The dog refused to leave the ER entrance. He sat by the automatic doors for hours. Nurses brought him water. One of the janitors gave him half a turkey sandwich. But he wouldn't budge. He just watched the doors, ears pricking up every time someone came out. When Hank returned that evening, tired, and carrying a thermos of hot soup, the dog stood and walked over, like they were old friends. "Still waiting?" Hank asked. Kneeling, the dog licked his knuckles and gave a soft huff. "You're not a stray, are you? You're watching over her." He checked the collar again. No tag, no name. But someone had clearly taken good care of him once. His nails were trimmed. His coat still carried the faint smell of oatmeal shampoo. "I'll get you inside, buddy," Hank whispered. "You've earned that much." Hank had seen a lot in his 30 years as a trooper. But this, a mystery crash, a silent dog guardian, and a little girl with no identity, it didn't sit right. He ran the wreck through every stolen car report. Nothing. He checked local missing child alerts. None matched. It was like the girl and the car never existed until that morning. But someone had to know something. So Hank called Marjorie Klein, a retired dispatcher with a photographic memory. She was 71, sharp as a tack, and owed Hank a few favors. "German Shepherd, you say?" she said over the phone. "Dark coat. White chest patch?" "Yeah, why?" There was a pause. Then she said, "I think I met that dog almost 6 months ago." "What?" "There was a woman, young, scared, came into the station asking for help. Said someone was after her. She had a little girl and a dog, described exactly like yours. Why wasn't a report filed? She vanished before we could get her statement. Left in the middle of the night. Surveillance showed her car heading north. Never saw her again." Hank leaned back in his chair, the phone pressed to his ear, heart pounding. "What was her name?" "She never gave it," Marjorie whispered. "But she called the dog Shadow." The name stuck with Hank for the rest of the night. Shadow? It fit him perfectly. Quiet, watchful, loyal to the core. Wherever the girl was, that dog had been her shadow, guarding her, guiding her, and ultimately saving her life. Back at the ER the next morning, Shadow lay curled just outside the pediatric unit. Hospital policy wouldn't allow dogs inside, but the nurses bent the rules. One older nurse even sneaked him slices of ham from the cafeteria. Every time a child cried, Shadow would lift his head. But when Jane Doe stirred in her bed for the first time, barely conscious, Shadow perked up, stood, and trotted to the door. Like he knew, the staff let him in. The little girl's eyes fluttered open. Her face was pale, lips chapped. But when she saw the German Shepherd, her fingers twitched, reaching out, shut down. It was barely a whisper, but it felt like thunder. The dog padded over, gently resting his head on the hospital bed. The girl buried her tiny fingers in his thick fur and finally let herself cry. She didn't say anything else, not her name, not what happened, just clung to Shadow, like he was the only thing tethering her to safety. And maybe he was. Hank watched from the doorway. He wasn't a sentimental man, but there was something about the way that dog looked at the girl, as if silently promising, "I've got you. No one will hurt you now." The wrecked car was pulled up from the ravine and taken to the impound lot. Hank went over it personally. It looked clean, almost too clean, but inside, tucked deep under the passenger seat, he found a tiny pink shoe, scuffed and muddy. In the trunk, buried beneath the carpet lining, was a small stuffed rabbit, its ear torn. But there was something else. A flash drive, sealed in plastic. He handed it to forensics. When the contents were recovered, Hank sat in the tech room, eyes narrowed. There were 3 videos. In the first, a young woman, mid-20s, thin, with long brown hair and tired eyes, spoke directly to the camera. "If you're watching this, then I didn't make it. My name is Clara Jennings. My daughter's name is Emily. And the dog with her is Shadow. He was my father's service dog. He protected me when I was a kid. Now he protects her." She looked off camera, then back. Fear etched every line of her face. "We were running from someone who won't stop looking for us. I couldn't go to the police. He had people everywhere. If I'm gone, please, just keep Emily safe. Please." The screen went black. Hank leaned forward, fists clenched. This wasn't just a car accident. This was an escape. Hank knew he couldn't let this sit. He pulled every thread, starting with Clara Jennings. It took digging through archived school records and social media posts long since deleted. But eventually, he found what he was looking for. Clara had once been married. Her ex-husband, a man named Daniel Royce, wealthy, powerful, known for his charm, but beneath the surface, rumors swirled about control, threats, isolation. No official charges, no police reports, but Clara had filed for custody once. Just once. The case was withdrawn 2 weeks later. No reason given. After that, she vanished. Now it all made sense. She'd been running from him. The clean car, the scratched vein, the lack of ID. It was all intentional. Clara had tried to disappear, to protect her daughter, and Shadow had helped her every step of the way, until the wreck, until the crash left Emily unconscious in the woods, and until Shadow stopped traffic and made the world see her. News of the mysterious dog and the brave little girl spread like wildfire. The local station ran the story. Then regional news picked it up. "Hero dog saves child in highway mystery." Read one headline. "A German Shepherd leads police to wreck. Little girl found alive," said another. By the end of the week, there were flowers and cards outside the hospital. People from towns Hank had never heard of dropped off clothes, toys, blankets, even adoption offers. But Emily remained silent. She'd wake, eat, hug Shadow. But she wouldn't talk. Not about her mother, not about her past. Shadow never left her side. The hospital allowed him to stay, first at the entrance, then in her room. "It's like she only feels safe with him," a nurse whispered. Hank knew what he had to do. He sat beside the little girl, removed his trooper hat, and said softly, "Emily, I know someone hurt your mommy, and I know she did everything she could to protect you, but I promise, no one's going to hurt you now, for the first time." Emily looked up. Her eyes were still scared, but something flickered there. Hope. She whispered one word. "Safe." Hank nodded. "Safe." And Shadow laid his head across her lap, sealing the promise with quiet strength. Just when it seemed Emily was safe, Daniel Royce emerged, not with brute force or police resistance, but with lawyers. 3 days after the story aired, a clean-cut man in a tailored gray suit arrived at the hospital with court documents in hand. Calm, smiling, speaking in soft tones. "I'm here for my daughter." Hank was standing by the coffee machine when the call came down. He marched to the pediatric floor, like a storm rolling in. The moment he saw the man's face, Every instinct screamed, predator. "I have legal custody," Daniel said smoothly. "Clara was unstable. That's documented. I filed a missing persons report years ago." "You never said anything about a dog," Hank said coldly. Daniel's smile thinned. Shadow was her father's. Likely feral now. Unreliable. Hank stepped closer. "That dog dragged me through half a forest and led me to a dying child. He's more reliable than you'll ever be." Daniel bristled. "You're interfering with a legal matter." "No," Hank said, voice low. "I'm protecting a 5-year-old girl who watched her mother die trying to escape you." Daniel's mask slipped just for a second. Cold, calculating, dangerous. But that was all Hank needed to see. With the help of Clara's video testimony, witness accounts, and Shadow's role, Hank pushed for a protective custody order. Emily was placed in the care of the state, temporarily, until a full investigation could be completed. Daniel's lawyers backed off, but Hank knew this wasn't over. Not yet. 3 weeks passed. Emily began to talk again, slowly, quietly, in whispers to Shadow, then to nurses, eventually to Hank. She told them how Clara packed their car late at night, how Shadow had barked when they hit the curve too fast, how the seatbelt saved her, but her mother, Mommy never woke up. Hank sat with her as she said it. No cameras, no courtrooms, just the truth. It broke him a little, but it also gave him fire. He used every favor, every ounce of reputation he'd built over 30 years of service. By the time Daniel Royce tried to appeal, the state already had a new plan. They weren't sending Emily back to a man who scared her into silence. Instead, custody was granted to someone who had never left her side. Not Shadow. "Hank Monroe, I'm not trying to replace your mama," Hank told her gently, the day the court finalized it. "But I promise I'll protect you." Just like Shadow, Emily looked up with big, steady eyes. "Can he sleep in my room?" Hank smiled. "He already does, sweetheart." A year later, traffic moved smoothly past mile marker 242. Drivers didn't know the story, didn't know what happened that misty morning. But if they looked close, they might spot a man with salt and pepper hair walking alongside a young girl with pigtails and a tall German shepherd by her side. They were often seen at the local park or in town at the diner, where the waitress always gave Shadow a piece of bacon. No one ever questioned it. They just smiled, nodded, and knew some families are born, others are made. And sometimes a hero comes on 4 legs. Shadow never wore a cape, never sought applause, but he did something no one else could. He stopped traffic on a highway and started a new life. For a girl, for a trooper, and for himself.